Hello, everyone. My name's Jennifer McCollum from Parent Teens, and I am here today with Tara Vogel. Tara is from Luminary Parenting. It's been such an honor to get to know Tara, and I can't wait for you to find out what she does. So I'm going to give you a quick intro, and then she's going to take it away and tell us, really explain to us what she does. So she is a certified professional astrologer and coach, and she's passionate about helping moms stay connected to their teens and to themselves via the cosmos. So welcome, Tara.
Thank you.
It's nice to be here. Oh, well, I'm so honored to have you here, and I can't wait for us to dive into exactly what you do. So can you give us a little bit of background on, what you do, how you got into supporting parents?
Yeah, I could talk a while on that, so let me know if I talk too long. But first, let me tell you about how I'm ended up doing what I'm doing. So my 14-year-old daughter, when she was born, had some issues. Her birth was natural and wonderful, and she was just struggling a little bit. She got the diagnosis failure to thrive. And so we just didn't know what was going on with her for a while. Honestly, we still don't. But she just was very different than the other kids. And so my mission for the first 5 years of her life was to fix her. And I was on a mission. You name it, I tried it. Anything crazy, alternative, mainstream, conventional, I tried it. And at one point I was having lunch with some like-minded friends. We had just moved to a different area so Eva could go to a Waldorf school for special needs children because she was definitely not typical at this point. And someone said, have you ever had her astrological natal chart read? And I said, do you mean like Capricorn, Libra, like that thing? And they said, yeah, have you ever, we have a great astrologer in the area. So I had Eva's chart read, and I was blown away by the fact that this person described her to a T. And I thought, what is going on? And how did he know? I mean, Eva actually has the diagnosis now of cerebral palsy, but back then we didn't have that diagnosis. And, we're still not totally sure that, what actually did happen, because in my world, my pregnancy and birth and everything was great. So, but he described her challenges, and she described her gifts and her personalities and her personality. And I was just amazed. So I, as a mom would, I just became passionate, borderline obsessed with really understanding how astrology works. And that was my journey. And that was many, many years ago. Like I said, she's 14 now. And so, I basically help parents that are struggling with their kids, but some that aren't, some moms, it's usually moms that come to me, they just want to do well for their kids. They just want to be a great mom, and they're looking for some insight into how they can do that. And so what I actually do in a session, and this may sound unusual if you're not familiar with astrology, is that I am looking at a flattened out map of where the planets were in the sky at the time, place, and date. So basically I need, your child's birth information of when they were born. So it's a flattened out map of where all the planets were in the sky and their symbols. And I interpret that for the parent. And, we all know where our sun is, right? Because we say, oh, I'm a Capricorn, you're a what? Aries. Right now the sun is in Aries. So if a baby were born right now, the sun would be in Aries. I'm not sure when this is going to air, so it might be in Taurus by then. But so we all know our sun sign, but our sign is only this one little part of the whole constellation of who we are. We have a moon sign, we have a Mercury, we have a Venus and Saturn, and those all give clues to, what they need. Like, please, Jennifer, stop me if I'm going on, but I get on a roll about these things.
You keep going, because The more we know about this, and I think if I can just say one thing, as a parent, I can completely relate to wanting to try everything. And this is what worked for you and gave you a better understanding. And I think that's the whole point, that, we have choices out there in the parenting world to find, that peace within ourselves and how to, connect with our kids. And I love that this is a unique way, in a way that I hadn't thought about connecting with my kids. So you please carry on and tell us
Yeah, and
more.
you bring up a good point. It's like, okay, back, when Eva was 5 and I had her chart read, okay, so Tara, it totally described her, but how did that make a difference in your life? So the way that made a difference is because for the first time since she was born, I felt like a sense of peace. I felt as though, so basically this map that he was looking at the time that I now use in my sessions, um, it's basically the souls in that I believe, my personal philosophy, and it's very spiritual belief, but we choose when to come here. And so we choose exactly the time, place, the parents, everything, when to be born for a soul. This isn't just our only time here on the earth. I believe that we come here as souls to evolve and learn and grow back closer to love, like come home to love. And we all have different names for love. Some people call love Jesus or beloved or Buddha or Allah, divine presence, but we are on a journey back to that. And we try a bunch of times to do that, and we learn different lessons. So I'm looking at basically, I wish I had a chart here, but it is their soul plan. So when that astrologer described her so well, and it described her challenges, it was like, oh my gosh, in a sense, life is fine for Eva. I'm the one trying to fix her, and I'm actually burning myself out, going crazy. My marriage is suffering, my other kids are suffering, and because I'm just working my butt off to try to heal her. And what if there's nothing to be healed? What if there's just an honoring and understanding of who she is and her soul work? Because that's what your natal chart shows. It's like the work that she's here to do is in symbols, but that's what I interpret in the session, like what their bigger picture of their life is. And so it just brought me peace to know that. And all I needed to do was support her on this journey. And so, I'll go on to what I was going to say before. When you look at your child's moon sign, right? So the moon in the sky was in a certain sign too when your child was born, and you as well. But the moon is really important when talking about kids because it indicates what they need, especially from mom. Moon is mother. So it's, what they need. So needs, if a child is born with their moon in Libra, that's very different needs that they have than if the child was born with their moon in Aries. Those are two completely different energies. So really understanding like what your child needs, and the moon is also how they perceive you. And so I have 3 kids. If I didn't say that in the beginning, I have 3 kids, all different ages, very big age span in between each of them. And they all have different moon signs, and they really truly perceive me in a different way. But it's helpful to know that. Your Venus tells what they need to give and receive in relationships. Mars will tell you how your child goes about getting something, like when they desire something, how they go about getting what they want. It also gives a clue to how they get angry and how they process anger. So if you process anger, let's just use Libra and Aries, for example. If your Mars is in Libra and your child's Mars is in anger, well, those are going to be really different. And it's helpful for you to know that, because their job is not to come and be like you, it's to come and do what they're here to do. And that is something that they decide before they come here, right? Everything making sense? Any questions? Because I can keep going.
I know, and I have goosebumps. Like I've spoke with you before, and I've asked you about, what you do, because it isn't anything that I have done in my parenting world yet. But the goosebumps are coming from just the path that you take parents on, I think is so incredible, because what you're finding is that you're coming to an understanding, from what I understand you're saying, you're coming to an understanding that this path your child is on is the right one, and you've been struggling with trying to change them. Like, I just think that is our big message here, that by doing an astrological natal chart, you are figuring out yourself, that everything's okay with your child, that they're on the path they need to be. Is that what you're saying? Like, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking, I can't wait to have a chart read with you. With I've got all 4 of my kids, and I think it's just like, I just wanted to highlight what you said a little bit back about just coming to an understanding that they're on the right path and they're where they need to be. Did I get that right?
You're absolutely right. And they're kids, so they need our support. They need our guidance. You know, a child that has their, let's just use Mars, for example, Mars in a certain sign, like a really strong sign, right? They're going to need our guidance and how to do that in the high expression, because in every sign and every planet, there's a beautiful high expression or a lower expression. So, you know, if we're talking about Mars, it's like, I'm confident, I'm strong, I'm going to go after what I want. The lower expression of that might be manipulation or fear, or I'm going to try to get my way in a sneaky way. So this is all things that we go over. So I kind of guide you towards the highest expression that your child wants to work towards, but this could show up also. And if it does, nothing's wrong. This is kind of what they signed up for, because we all, like, just like we can't experience love until we felt the opposite, you know, which is fear and despair and all of that. But the more we can dive into those feelings that, like, kind of, especially when we have a kid that's struggling, like, there's a lot that comes up within us that's hard to deal with. And so, you know, this is why I also love to work with the parent as well, because my favorite way to work with parents is to actually have their natal chart read first, so we can get a good feeling for, this is who you are, this is what your soul has come to do in this lifetime and who they've come to be. And now here's your child, and let's look at how these can work together, because you could have completely, especially, this is, you know, partly I think how children learn is that they choose these challenges that help them grow and learn. We don't, you know, if we're totally good with all lessons in school, why do we need to go to school? This is kind of like Earth school that they come and do. So if they knew everything, you know, they wouldn't need to be learning these lessons, but they need to kind of work through things. And that's where we go into, like, how you can support them. So every time we talk about, okay, your child's moon is in Aries, they need this, and this is how you can support them. Their Venus is in Gemini, this is what they're going to need. They're super busy and they love friendships and all of this, and this is how you can support them. So it's always, I'm really good at making things practical. I feel like I'm a Capricorn, so I'm not always like the easiest person on myself. I think I have high standards for myself, but I used to be an elementary teacher before I had my kids. So I'm very used to making everything be really easy and practical to understand.
I like that, because in the parenting brain, it's kind of chaos, and for the teenage brain too. So can I ask you, you said you read the chart, the natal chart, for the parent first and then the child?
That's my preferred way, because it gives, right, we can lose ourselves, especially when our kid is struggling. We can really lose ourselves in that struggle. And it always helps to have a firm container with which to hold yourself before you can go support someone else. So I find that the parent, for the mom or the dad, I love doing readings for dads, it brings them back to themselves so they can be a better support for their child. That's my experience, and that's what I find. And a lot of times, you know, and those of you that are listening to this interview might think, but I don't really know anything about astrology. In fact, isn't all that stuff made up? Like, how does that even work? So the great thing about it is that when you have your chart read, you don't need to know a thing about astrology. But when I describe you and I describe, you know, what is going on in your life now, because things are always evolving and changing for us, you'll walk away. You don't need to know a thing about astrology. You'll walk away and say, I don't know how she did that, but she described me to a T. And so, and it's the same with your child. Like it's, I will describe your child like they are this way. And we don't need to understand astrology. Astrologers always joke, we have this inside joke. We don't know how it works, but we know it does.
Mhm.
And there are plenty of theories on how it works. And I could give you mine now, but I'm not sure if that's part of our conversation today. I just would love to really communicate with parents how insightful this can be. And it's definitely a unique way to view your child, that not a lot of other people are doing. So yeah, I feel like it's a real gift to give yourself, your kid, and your family too.
I think it is very unique what you're doing. And it is all, it sounds to me like just understanding yourself and understanding your child. And with that, you can communicate in a much more effective way. So I love what you're doing, Tara. I love that you're here for us, that we can reach out. Now, after we're done chatting, I'm going to, hello.
You're in the background there.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised my dogs aren't barking. I was just thinking, oh, you could probably see them out there digging holes in the yard. But anyway, that's the fun.
And Jennifer, you bring up communication, because that is a planet that we definitely, Mercury is the planet of communication. That is key. A lot of times parents will come to me with their child struggling with learning issues. Mercury tells all about how they communicate, how they learn, how they think. That's really important for kids because, most of our kids are in school. Mm-hmm. So it's great information to get, like, what kind of environment will they learn best in? How do they need to communicate? So that was a really important planet that I forgot to mention.
That is wonderful. I know you have so much to just share with us, and maybe you'll come back another time and we can maybe get to some specifics, or even, talk about the outcome of a reading and the effects on some of your families, because I know you've helped so many people. For now, people can connect with you. I'm going to provide the links after the video of where you can connect. Luminary Parenting on your website, but I follow you on Instagram and Facebook as well. You have a huge following on both those. And Instagram,
I do.
It's the first thing that pops up.
Facebook is a little bit out. It just isn't my preferred method. I think Instagram is more creative. It just feels nicer to me. Yeah, and I post every day on there. Like I said, I'm a Capricorn, so I'm consistent. I post every day on what's going on in the cosmos, with the planets, and how you can use it to support your mothering. And I make it really easy to understand too.
You absolutely do. And it's the first thing that comes up on my Instagram. When I open it up in the morning, I see your write-up, and it's wonderful. So I highly recommend that everyone follow you on Instagram and find you on the Parent Teen site. And I can't wait to hear more from you. Now, I know you have to get going, but we will chat again soon. And you can find Tara in our Parent Teens website. And I'll make sure to add all the links after this video so you know exactly how to find her. So thank you so much. Is there anything I missed? Do you want any final words of love for us?
No, I could talk a long time, but no, I think you got the important points. And, I think there's a ton of information on, like, what you would learn in a reading, like, if you would decide to, explore that path, you can find a lot more information on there. But yeah. And
it sounds like you get a lot more information than I originally thought. Like, even just to know how our kids learn, like, it's all so valuable. I'm so excited that we've connected.
Yeah, me too.
Right. Well, we'll see you again then. And thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.